Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'll be showing you how to validate forms using regular expressions in JavaScript. Let's jump into the video. Awesome, let me show you how it works. So for example, I'm going to type in a random name, Jessica, and it's going to show that it's valid. But then if I type Jessica with a small letter, Jessica is invalid, but once I change it, it's valid. Awesome. A random password I'm going to type awesome@gmail.com, and it's valid. But the moment I don't add all of those and just say .com, it's going to be invalid. I need add a letter and .com. Awesome. Let's get straight into it. I'm going to paste this in just to save us some time and actually go to the JavaScript part. But basically what's happening here is I have a form, okay, but above the form I have a header of regular expression validation using JavaScript. Cool. Then below here I created my form and I gave it the ID of form with an action of none. That's what the hashtag stands for. Then I have a label for my name with the break. Awesome. I have an input for my name with the placeholder of name and an ID of name. Remember the ID of name. Then I have a spam with the ID of text1. Then I repeated the exact same thing for the email, but now I have label for email, and I have an input type with email, the name email, an ID email, and a placeholder with the example at gmail.com. Then I have another spam with the ID of text2. Then the closing tag for the form. So I'm just gonna paste the styling in over here. So basically what we did is just basic body styling, and then this is the form label. I want that to have a color of white, age 1 to have a color of red, text 1 and text 2, which is the span, I want that to have a font size of 13 pixels. But now these are the nice parts of the CSS over here. So we're just going to create the class of valid. With valid, we're going to pass in a color of green. And an invalid, we're going to pass in a color of red. Awesome, awesome. This will be used when we write in our JavaScript to add these classes for a perfect UI. Let's move on to the JavaScript, which I won't be pasting any code. So I'll be coding from scratch. So you can pause the video and copy all this code. Our form looks now. Awesome, it's looking okay, not bad, not bad. So let's get back to the CSS, to the JavaScript. Okay, so the first step I want to do is actually get all the IDs from my HTML. So I'm going to put them in variables, and I'm going to do that by saying const, okay, const form is equal to document dot get element by ID, and that element is going to be the form. Perfect. So I'm just going to copy and paste this 7 times, copy and paste this 5 times actually, 2, 3, 4. Perfect. So we're going to change this name into email, and over here as well. Perfect. Over here we're going to change this into name. I'm going to change this into name, and then we're going to text this into text1. And over here as well, just text1, just to keep the same thing, not confuse anyone. We need one more for text2, so we're just gonna change this into text2. Awesome. Text2. Perfect. So once we're done with that, now we can create the function. So the first function we're gonna create, okay, the function name is gonna be validate the email. Validate email. Then open parentheses, come out of there. Perfect. Now we're gonna have a constant variable, which is the regular expression, regular underscore x. You can name it anything you want. I just like to keep mine simple. Email, regular x email is equal to. Now we're gonna open the regular expression tags. Perfect. Now over here, what we're gonna be doing in the start, so we're gonna put a caret. Okay, so we're gonna put the caret. We're gonna open parentheses. So the caret actually means in the start, so that's what it means, in the start. And then we're gonna put this in an array. So in the start, I want it to say A to Z. It's gonna take A to Z in small letters. Then we're gonna say A to Z in caps. So it's gonna take lowercase a to Z and uppercase a to Z. 0 to 9. So it's gonna take any numbers from 0 to 9. Then we're gonna have an underscore. It can also take backslash. It can also take a dash or a dot. Perfect. And then plus. Okay, plus outside of the parentheses, we're gonna need an add sign. Perfect. It must contain an add sign. That's what it's saying. And then the second group, parentheses. Perfect. It's gonna take the exact same thing as the first group. So we're just gonna copy and paste this. Hopefully you understood what I said in the first group. If not, leave a comment below. I'll be sure to explain for those who didn't get it. Awesome. So once we're done there, we're gonna say dash dot forward backslash dash dot. So I'm saying it must take a dot now. The same way as the add, it must take a dot. Okay. So then the last group, parentheses, the last group can just take A to Z in small, and then A to Z in big. Okay, but then I want it to have like a certain amount, so a minimum of 2 and a maximum of 6. So .com, .ru, all of those, but it's not going to be too long. Okay, then once we're done with that, you can control save if you want. And then in our function, control save if you want, and in our function we're gonna have an if statement. Okay, if it is not, okay, copy this so you don't make any errors typing it down. If it's not the regular expression for email, right, dot test. What this dot test does, it will take that email dot value and check if it's not the same value as our regular expression for email. What I want you to do is email dot class list dot add invalid. Okay, remember we created the invalid on the CSS, which is just a color of red. Awesome. But if it is, what I want it to do, no, remember we create, awesome. So now what we're gonna do, we're gonna add invalid, and we're going to remove valid in case it has the class of valid. Perfect. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna say text one dot inner HTML. This is to write for HTML from spam. It's weird saying that word. Okay, inner HTML is equal to your email is valid. Email is valid. No, is invalid. Is invalid for the first part. Okay, then what we're gonna do is text one, we're gonna add a color to it. Dot color, no, dot style dot color is equal to for example, let's take this color. So it's going to be red. So it's FF, then 4 O's, which is red. Perfect. And then we need an else condition, else. Then we're gonna take the exact same thing and just gonna tweak it a bit. So this else statement is for if it is regular expression of email. And then what we're gonna do, instead of removing valid, we're gonna remove invalid, we're gonna add valid. Okay, and then here we're gonna change email to name. Okay, text1 to text2. Okay, and perfect. Color, we're just gonna swap these values, so it's gonna be green now. This is the thing for green. Let's save, open up. So we haven't yet linked our JavaScript, so the first thing we're gonna do is gonna say defer, which means I want you to wait, do not load the page yet while I load the HTML. So load after the HTML. So it's gonna be defer. We're gonna put our source, it's gonna be app.js. Perfect. I'm gonna control save that, and we're gonna add a function over here on the email section first, because that's what we started with. On key down, once we're done pressing the key, I want you to put this in validate email. So that's a function we created over here in our JavaScript. Perfect. So once you do that, we're gonna control save, we're gonna open in browser, refresh your page, type in a random password. Your email is not valid till you put the @ sign, till you put the Gmail, then .com, then it's valid. Perfect. It added the class list and everything. I hope you're still following. Perfect. So what we're gonna do, let's go back to our HTML. Let's add an on-click event, on key down event for this one as well. But instead of validate email now, we're gonna validate, okay, name. Call this function like that, control save. Now, so over here, we're just gonna copy this whole entire function, because it's the same thing to validate the name. So I'm gonna copy that function, I'm gonna paste it over here. We just need to change a few things first. Over here by validate email, we change that to name, change that to validate name. Over here by email.value, it's gonna be name.value. Over here by email.classlist.add, it's gonna be name. And then, so I can just select multiple and do it at the same time. Okay, so I'm just gonna select multiple and change them at the same time. Awesome. So it's gonna be name. Press caps lock by mistake. Name. Awesome. Now control save that, but then our regular expression, we're gonna delete this whole thing because this is the tutorial. Its purpose. So constant reg expression. Okay, you can name it anything, but just wanna be specific with the name. So dot name, reg expression name, okay, is equal to dash dash. This is for regular expression. Remember the caret. The caret states that in the start of something, what do I want? I'm looking for an array, okay? It must be in caps. So I'm gonna put these A to Z in caps. So the first letter of whatever the person types must be in caps, right? Okay, cool. What it's gonna check after that, and then the rest is A to Z in small letters. I think that's all for regular expressions of a name. And then we can add curly braces to add a minimum value and a maximum value. Okay, so minimum of 2, maximum of 20. Perfect. We save that. Let's see if everything's matching. Okay, then here text1, you change that to text2. So select multiple. Select multiple. We change that to text1. We save that. We open up our JavaScript, our page, we reload. Now let's try type in something. Let's say Jessica. I think there's oh yes, we forgot something. The most important part over here. It's no more regex email. It's gonna be reg X name. Control save. Now it's gonna work. Test work. So we refresh. Let's try typing something. Jessica. See, small letters. Jessica. Perfect. Then our email at gsomething.com. Done.